We are back for another sit down. My hair, I hope, looks very nice because this is a quick one. So yeah. Hey my officials, welcome back to a whole new video and welcome if you're new. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Officially Michelle family. And for my returning subscribers, hi, how are you guys doing? I trust all is well with my subscribers. And also, if you are here time and time again, please subscribe to my channel. It will help me out a lot, regardless if you like me or not. Like, just subscribe. Thank you very much. And now we're gonna get into the video. But before we get into the video, I just want you guys to know I am not a self-care guru. I am not a self-care connoisseur. So if it is that you are not in agreement with what I say in this video, you can comment it below, but don't be rude, one, and you can give us your perspective on what you think self-care is. This is a community for my subscribers, and so me too, I would like to learn if it is that someone has a different perspective on what self-care is. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get into the video. So I did reach out to my subscribers on Instagram. Well, I just reached out to my Instagram family and asked them to send me some questions, which I wanted to do an actual girl talk type of video, but it turned out good. So if it is that you are new here, I would definitely recommend that you go and check out that girl chat video. It was very fun, and it was very fun for me to do. One of the things I need to say, if you've seen my light kind of changes ever so often, I am working with natural light, and you know, the sun, it comes and it goes sometimes. So yeah, and with all of that being said, I got a lot of questions on self-care, which was very surprising for me because I did not know that people wanted for me to do even self-care tips here on my channel and stuff like that. I have gotten little questions ever so often on self-care, but nothing to talk about. But I'm gonna get into the questions. But before I get into the questions, I just want to say that self-care to everybody looks different. Self-care to everybody is different. But I do think that humans and people in general, it is something that we should actually put some time into creating in our life as a part of our lives. I know life gets tough sometimes, and sometimes we just don't make that time for ourselves. Women especially, but even as men, I think sometimes you need a little self-care time. Like, life is already tough, and you know, we go through all of these things, especially women, like we go through PMSing and all of that, and sometimes it gets to be so much. When you have kids, you have a husband, you have a family, I can only imagine not even getting sometimes the time to really, you know, do your self-care stuff and just like be by yourself and just bask in yourself. And so I'm saying that to say self-care does look different to everybody. I am an advocate for self-care and having like self-care routines and, you know, just basically taking care of yourself as a woman. I think it's important for us to take care of ourselves, because when we do take care of ourselves, we feel good, we look good, and everything else around us just works the way that it needs to work out, right? So with all of that being said, I'm already 4 minutes into this video, so if it is long, just continue to watch. But let's get into the questions that I got asked, and hopefully I'm able to help some of my subscribers along the way in reference to their self-care routine and the things that they think, or the things that they can do that would help them to create a self-care routine, a realistic self-care routine, something that may work for them. So let's get into the questions. So one of the questions that I got that I really needed to read, and to me it wasn't even a question, it was more of I circled the questions on self-care, but one of the statements that I got, and I really need to read this because sometimes I think people are so like so stiff. But because I had reached out to people on my Instagram, the person was like, self-care please, that's more important for a female's development. And I know self-care is important for a female development, but this is not a boring channel. I'm not a boring person. I also like the girl chat ever so often because it is live, and I feel like it's a part of my life as well. And since I'm sharing parts of my life with you guys, I really do think that I want to be a little bit more well-rounded on my channel, because I also know that there are singles here on my channel just like me, and we are going through it people go through it in relationships. And I also think that, you know, it's a fun, it's fun topics. Not that self-care is never good, would have never come on my channel, because it's something that I think I do promote. But yeah, that comment kind of ruffled my feathers just a little bit, because this is a fun channel. We talk about everything here. I want to talk about everything here. I want to be open. I want to have that open dialogue with my subscribers. So yeah, but thank you for the comment, and we're now gonna get into the actual questions that, of course, I hope you watch this video and you get some help from it. So one of the first questions that I got was your tips on mental self-care that is leveling up the way you think, etc. So this person is basically asking about self-care mentally, and that is very important. So in reference to self-care, you need to be in a good space, to me, in order to really have a self-care, to be doing self-care activities. And self-care, mental self-care, one of the things I will say is that if it is that you are already going through it mentally, is to make sure that your mental health is a priority. If it is that you feel like you need to do counseling or you need to do a therapist, I think that is a form of a very expensive mental self-care. But that is a tip that I would recommend, that if it is that mentally you are not there and you're not in a good space, you need to get into probably seeing a therapist, talking to somebody, maybe having a mentor, talking to that person, and kind of getting perspective as to where your mental health is and the things that you can actually do to improve your mental health. One of the things that I do think can improve someone's mental health is really being able to speak to a therapist. So I would definitely recommend that you get a therapist, you speak to that person, and you get your mental health in order. If it is that you aren't able to like afford a therapist, because that's a very expensive venture, or that's a very expensive advice, I would recommend that you sit down with yourself and have a conversation with yourself on the things that you want to change in your life mentally. Follow positive pages. One of the things that I think helps me with my mental health is that every single morning I listen to a sermon, so if it is that you can't afford a therapist, every single morning I listen to a sermon. I make sure I start my day by listening to a sermon. That sermon puts me in perspective. It gives me perspective, I should say, and it really helps me in reference to like my mental health and how I should be thinking as an individual, and the things that I should be doing in reference to like my spiritual journey. To me, that really helps me. So if it is that that's something that you want to get into, I would say, like, in the morning I listen to the Joel Osteen sermons. They are literally 30 minutes. So while I'm getting ready for work, I have it on, I'm listening to it, and I'm really taking in the things that the message that he's sending to me. And majority of the times those messages are very positive messages, and even in listening to them, it gives me perspective as how I should be as a person and how I should look at things, even the disappointments, how I should look at it. So I would definitely recommend, if it is that you aren't in that space, to probably get a therapist, for someone to help you mentally. I would say to listen to a sermon, go to church, maybe get more involved in church, because that really helps, like really helps you. Well, it should really help you mentally, and help you to change the way that you think. I know it did for me, and so hence the reason why I'm recommending it to you as my subscriber. So one of the other questions that I got was, do you have a self-care schedule? How are you able to maintain yourself so well? I do have a self-care schedule, if you want to put it that way. For me, I've incorporated self-care into my life. So some of the different self-care activities that I do to make me feel good is, I wake up in the morning, I pray, I listen to my sermon, like I had just indicated to my other subscriber. That really puts me in a good space. So that is a part of my self-care schedule, or it's an everyday thing. Like, I don't just say, oh, this week I'm gonna focus on self-care. I have made self-care as a part of my life, and I think that is what we should always do in our lives. Self-care for me is very important. When I say very important, self-care is like up here on my list of things that I do. And again, self-care looks different to everybody. Self-care is not going out and spending $5,000-$10,000 on maintenance or anything like that. Self-care can be the simple things that I would have done is wake up in the morning, I make sure I pray, I make sure I listen to a good sermon, get my mind right, get my mind in a positive way to start my day. Another thing that I do every day is my skincare routines. I do one in the morning, I do one in the afternoon, and there are times where I would read a book. I haven't been doing that lately a lot, but I just haven't had the time to do that. But when I do have the time, I actually read a chapter. There is a list of books that I have that they say every woman should read. I would put it up on the screen here for you guys, and I've just been going through that list, although it's on pause at the moment. That is something that I have on schedule, so my days are planned out. Wake up in the morning, do my skincare routine, all of that good stuff, and then in the evening, when I come home, let's say I'm in the gym, when I leave the gym, I probably get something to eat, and if I'm not getting something to eat after the gym, because most times I'm not hungry, I will have a glass of wine. A glass of wine is a part of my self-care routine. In the evening time, I shower, and if I shower and I basically just read a book, if that's what mood I am in. I have different moods, but they're all surrounded around like taking care of myself and my self-care activities. So that is what my self-care schedule looks like. It is literally every day I have a routine, and I speak about routines here on my channel all the time. I have a routine, and there's a lot of self-care activities within my daily routine. And the second part to the question is, how are you able to maintain yourself so well? Honey, I work, and like I said, I work, and I do believe in self-care, and I think you can do small things to maintain yourself. And that's what I'm saying, like, self-care does not have to be that I'm going out and doing my lashes, or I'm going out and doing my nails. Like right now I have no nails on, but I painted my nails because I'm taking a break from actually acrylic, but I painted my nails because I think that it makes me feel good having some sort of color on my hands. And you know, it's a feeling, it's a vibe, it's an energy, it's something that you have to get into. If it is that, you know, you want to really get into your self-care activities, but that is just who I am as an individual. And if it is that that's something that you want to incorporate into your life, it's something you're definitely gonna have to incorporate over a period of time. Like, you can't just switch on and switch off self-care. And that's what I'm saying, self-care, my self-care activities are incorporated into my daily life, and they're very small stuff. They're not like stuff that makes me spend thousands of dollars in a month or anything like that. Another question that I got was, is self-care overrated? I don't personally feel like self-care is overrated. I think because we're in the world of social media, and that is something that is quote on trending, I think that's why it may come off as it is overrated. I think I love the trend. I love the push for self-care. Like I said, I really do believe that women should have within their daily lives some sort of self-care activity, some sort of activity that is self-care related. If it is that you're going to the gym, you're getting an hour out of your day, 1 hour out of your day to dedicate some time to doing something that you would like for you, whether it is sitting at home and watching Netflix after a long day. You know, it just depends on what you think should be your self-care activity. And I personally don't think it's overrated. I'm loving the push for self-care, because I do think that mentally, when we do self-care activities, it makes us feel better. It should make you feel better. Like, doing your self-care stuff should really make you feel good about yourself and give you confidence and give you a boost of confidence and a boost in your self-esteem and all of that. So yeah, it's not overrated. The next question I got is, what is your idea of self-care and how do you stay consistent? So my idea of self-care is really basking in myself every single day of the week. I do think that self-care for me is taking care of myself, making sure that I am mentally good. My idea of self-care is also going to the gym, staying active, feeling good. My idea of self-care is getting my hair done, getting my nails done, going to get a pedicure, watching Netflix, having a lazy day, like literally a lazy day where I do nothing all day. I do that all the time. Just because I've had a long or stressful week, I'm gonna sleep in late on a Saturday or just sleep in on a Sunday. And to be honest, I can afford to do that because I am single. I do not have kids, and so I do know that everyone is not able to do that. And that's why I'm saying, like, self-care for you will be different. Maybe for a mom, self-care is just going to get her nails done, but my idea of self-care is the small stuff, and I stay consistent because I feel like I've incorporated self-care into my life. It is literally as a part of my daily routine. It's things that I do every single day of my life, and I think that's the way to stay consistent with something or consistently doing something, is to create a routine where you incorporate the things, that the self-care activities that you want in your life, like infuse it somehow, you know, in your daily activities. So the next question that I got is, what are self-care tips after a long week? And some of the things that you can do in reference to self-care after a long week, some of the things I know I do is I just have a lazy day. So if I've had a long work week, I will literally, whenever my projects or whenever that week is up, I will literally sleep in for an extra 2 to 3 hours on the weekend. And even if I'm not sleeping, I'm just in my bed relaxing. You know, I'm not doing anything, I'm not thinking about anything, I'm not getting up to do anything. And that is my that's one of the tips I would say after a long week. One of the things that you can do is, if you are someone that likes to work out and you're very active, maybe go to the gym, maybe wake up in the morning, go to the gym, get yourself a nice smoothie, drink a cup of coffee, maybe after the gym have a healthy breakfast, have a hearty breakfast is what they like to say. What else can you do in reference to self-care? You can also just probably bask in yourself, listen to music, you can light a candle, you know, do your skincare routine, both your skincare on your face and do a body skincare routine, maybe do a scrub. If it is that you want to go out and spend a little bit of money, you can go shopping, maybe buy some things that you've been liking, or probably place an order online, do a haul. If it is that you want to spend money, or you can probably even like get a facial, maybe schedule a wax appointment, or you can also, what else can you do? What else would I have done? I'm trying to think the things that I would do after a long week. Probably go get your nails done, schedule a nail appointment, and even if you're not putting on acrylic, maybe just schedule a mani or a pedi. I feel like those things help us to relax. And so if it is that you want to spend, if you don't mind spending money on doing those things, then I would say to do those things after a long week. Get a really nice massage. It will really help you to just relax your mind. Or you can just hang out with your friends, you know, go get a glass of wine, go to dinner, maybe do a solo dinner to just relax your mind, kind of listen to yourself. And so those are some self-care tips, self-care activities I would definitely recommend after a long week. I know for me, those are things that I would probably do, and so I'm just going to share those with you. So the next question that I got was, which is my second to last question, is my top self-care thing to do. And my top self-care thing to do, to be honest, is declutter my apartment, clean my apartment. That is a part of self-care. Like, that's a self-care activity that you can do in your life. Because when you declutter everything, your mind even declutters. Everything feels lighter in the air. So I would clean my apartment, declutter that day or weekend, and I would light a candle, I will do my skincare routine. I will do my body care routine. I will do a scrub that day on my body. I would get some kind of carb my favorite carb that I like to eat, something fatty. I will pull out a bottle of Apothic Red Dark Crush. Those are my three favorite wines, or that's my favorite red wine, Apothic Red. And I will watch my favorite movie, or I will rewatch like a series, and that is basically what I will do all day. That is my top self-care thing to do. My skin is glowing head to toe. I put on my PJs early in the day whenever I'm done doing all of the things that I need to do, and I will just bask in doing nothing for the rest of the day. That's one of my top self-care things to do. If I want to go out and spend money, I will probably go and get a really nice pedicure at one of a really nice spa, and I'll probably just do like a solo date with myself. So I'll just spend a day with myself, basically just out doing things. And when I say things that are gonna make me feel good, like getting a pedi, maybe doing a little bit of shopping, maybe getting that perfume that I've always wanted. So those are like some of my top self-care things to do, but my top one is the first one, like literally doing nothing. And my final self-care question is, most you'd spend on a self-care item or service. I feel like self-care for me, I think does it have a budget? Does it need to have a budget? It should. It depends on what I want to do. To be honest, I don't know. I really don't know, because sometimes if I'm in that mood, I will spend money on that self-care thing that I want to do. But maybe $500, 500 US would be my budget as to the most expensive thing that I would want to do. Maybe 500 US would probably be my budget on the top self-care thing that I want to do. And I have not spent that money on self-care because I don't really do expensive self-care activities. I would say I think my self-care activities are very inexpensive to an extent. But yeah, but that is basically, maybe that would be my budget, especially if it's a service. If it's a service, maybe 500 US would be my top at this time. I don't think I'd spend any more than that on a service for self-care stuff. Like, yeah, I wouldn't. Because again, what my self-care activities are, I feel like they are working for me, and I've never had a need to spend that much even on a service. But if I am supposed to, I would spend about $500 on a service for self-care. It's important, like. So that is basically it on the self-care Q&A. I know this video is actually longer than I expected it to be, but I just really wanted us to have a conversation. This is a conversation, mainly more, and hopefully I was able to help you guys in reference to like tips and tricks and things that you can do in reference to your self-care. Again, self-care really looks different to everybody, and self-care activities or self-care things do not necessarily need to be expensive, or it needs to be too taxing on you, or taxing on your body, or taxing on your finances. It doesn't have to be like that. It could be simple things. And self-care is very, very important. And like I said initially, self-care really starts with your mental. I think that should be the focus if it is that you feel like you want to be someone who's incorporating self-care into your life. Mentally, you have to be in a good space, and in order for you to stay consistent in reference to like the self-care, the different self-care activities, you have to incorporate it into your lifestyle. It needs to be a lifestyle. It can't be a one-off thing. And so sometimes when you see people and you realize like, whoa, this person is really into self-care, it's because they've made it a part of their life. And I would definitely recommend, if the opportunity presents itself for you, my subscribers, to make self-care a part of your life. Again, I know that some of us have kids, but even if you have kids, you have a husband, you have things to do, I think it's very important for you to spend some time within yourself, some time with yourself, even if it is to just go get your nails done, you know, take the budget out. You work hard, you take care of the family, you know, go get a facial on the weekends, or take yourself out to a nice lunch. A nice lunch for you could just be getting pizza, and that's fine, you know. But again, I think sometimes we are in the social media world, and sometimes it makes us think that we have to spend so much money on self-care and so much money on doing different self-care activities when we really do not. But yeah, so that is basically it for me. I feel like I've blabbed for about 20, nearly 30 minutes, and so this is where I'm gonna end this video. I hope this video was very helpful to my subscribers and the people who have asked me questions in reference to self-care and the things that I do. Again, I don't really do anything that's extravagant in reference to self-care, although I would, but I just haven't felt the need to. And yeah, so with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this little chit chat on self-care. Thank you guys so much for the questions that you asked me on self-care. So with that being said, this is where I'm gonna end this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you again for all of the questions that you did ask me on self-care. I really love talking about self-care, and I could go on and on and on and on and on about self-care. I would definitely recommend, if it is that you guys want me to do a separate video of self-care ideas, then I'll definitely probably do that. But I think I gave you guys a lot of good ideas in this particular video, and so yeah. So with that being said, blabbing more, with that being said, I am going to go. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, if you aren't subscribed to my channel and you've made it to the end of this video, to subscribe to my channel. It will help me out a lot. And don't forget to share this with your family, friends, whoever, wherever. And I'll see you guys in my next upload. Bye.